At 3:00 p.m. on July 31st, 1944, the conquering Nazis led another Polish Jew through the black gates of Auschwitz. Overhead, the archway read, Arbeit macht frei, meaning, work sets you free. 1 hour later, the Germans tattooed the 20-year-old man with the number B94. Their goal was to strip him of his humanity and work him in the labor camp until he died. Unforeseen by his Nazi captors, the young man, Menachem Bornstein, would conquer Hitler's final solution and live to bear witness to the triumph over the unimaginable tragedy of the Holocaust. This man and those precious few remaining like him embody the spirit of the survivor. Young Bornstein, born March 17, 1924, grew up with a blissful childhood in the small Polish shtetl, Szekoc'ין.
50% of the town was Jewish people. We didn't feel anti-Semitism at all. We got also a shul, a synagogue, but it was one of the nicest in Poland.
Then the Nazis invaded. In 1934, Adolf Hitler, leader of the National Socialist Party, was appointed Chancellor of Germany. With fundamental anti-Semitic and anti-communist views, the new leader used his charismatic fanaticism to convince the German people to follow his plans, European domination beginning with Case White, the invasion of Poland. Poland's economy was agricultural and her population was 10% Jewish. In September of 1939, the Nazis attacked from the west, as the Soviets did from the east. World War II had begun. German technology far outfought the old-fashioned Polish tactical warfare. The Panzer Tank Division and the Luftwaffe were components of the highly effective, deadly tactic of lightning war, the infamous Blitzkrieg. Poland was forced to surrender. Immediately, the occupying Nazis searched for non-Aryans. Hitler's German supremacy policies directed the Nazis' brutality against intellectuals, political prisoners, Roma, homosexuals, the handicapped, and Jews. Anyone labeled as such was deported to a concentration camp, the most infamous of which was the Auschwitz complex. Auschwitz, one of the largest and deadliest sites, was composed of two separate camps, Auschwitz I for slave labor and Auschwitz-Birkenau for extermination. Both of these facilities were located in Oświęcim, Poland, near Krakow. Prisoners were transported to the camps in boxcars, often crowding over 100 persons in each. Many victims believed the Nazi propaganda. They were merely being relocated, so they brought along personal possessions, which would later be confiscated by their tormentors. As soon as the new arrivals exited the train, their fate was decided. Rabbi Bornstein escaped this selection. Women, children, and the frail were frequently the first victims. Some were understandably confused, others wary, and still others were optimistic. The Nazis skillfully avoided rebellion and disobedience in the camps by extending some hope for survival if the prisoners were compliant with a series of ever-changing rules and procedures. The Auschwitz gas chambers were designed to exterminate up to 1,000 people in just 20 minutes. Convinced they were showering, prisoners cooperated by willingly entering the massive room. They were then slowly suffocated by Zyklon B. Pellets of this deadly poison were dropped through a small hole in the top of the chamber. The Sonderkommando, a group of prisoners with the grim duty of stealing any remaining possessions among the corpses and removing the bodies for cremation, made its rounds through the gas chambers. Many prisoners survived the Holocaust by working for the Nazis, but at a great personal cost.
They brought me to a hospital in Auschwitz. Came Dr. Menger, yeah? He said, "You're gonna teach him to make shots." And it was a strict order. All the food that left over, you have to throw away. I am looking over the window and I see that the people are eating grass. And I took the food, I transferred to them every single day.
Even if a prisoner was sent to work, extermination was certain. The Nazis humiliated prisoners, denying them rights, dignity, and humane treatment. A twisted justice system also reigned at the camp. If a prisoner was suspected of plotting rebellion, cited for disobedience, or merely randomly accused. The Nazi officials at the camp would put them on trial. The outcome was fixed, no matter the evidence. The accused, left to suffocate or starve in a single cell less than a square meter, would face the firing squad. Rabbi Bornstein's experiences in the Auschwitz I concentration camp bear witness to the horrible crimes committed within the barbed wire fence.
Hitler, and he started an automat machine to kill. I don't know how the bullet didn't touch me. And they put us in other work in Auschwitz. We did work so hard by cannons. Came a German officer, and he said, "Get up and walk." But I couldn't. Then he took the rifle, and with the back of the rifle, he gave it to me here with the whole power. I got so much pain.
The Soviet Army liberated Auschwitz on January 27, 1945. The troops found the 7,000 remaining prisoners at the camp ill, malnourished, and near death. The majority of prisoners were forced on what has come to be known as a death march.
They took us 3 days from Auschwitz till Mauthausen, but this is Austria, for march. More than half people, they died under the way. How I survived, I don't know.
After liberation, Rabbi Bornstein, like many other Jews, fled to Palestine.
We came to Israel in 1946. And when we came to Haifa, then from the British Army, then they stopped us. It was illegal to come. They put us in a camp for 2 weeks.
By 1947, the Arab nations bordering Palestine threatened the Jews with war and opposed the growing Jewish state. In May 1948, when the nation of Israel declared its independence, the surrounding Arabs attacked. The fledgling nation knew the time to defend their sovereignty had come. In preparation, many Jewish militias were formed. Rabbi Bornstein joined the largest of these, Haganah, meaning the defense. These ragtag fighting forces worked together to repel the Arab assault and secured Israeli independence. Rabbi Bornstein continued his military commitment during the Six-Day and Yom Kippur Wars. He participated in many of the later Arab-Israeli wars as a medic. Then, in 1952, he married Chedva Babad. 30 years later, he, like so many other Jews, moved to America. Today, Poland's Auschwitz concentration camp complex is a museum with over 1 million annual visitors. The crematoria and gas chambers are long deserted, and only the gloomy ruins remain of the graveyard for the surplus of 1.5 million people who died there. The old firing squad wall has become a flower-adorned memorial, while a flag waves overhead, symbolizing the enduring spirit of those who would not surrender. These abandoned places whisper the stories of and bear witness to the horrific tragedy that was the Holocaust. Those who survived triumphed in the face of the Nazi terror. Rabbi Bornstein, a courageous witness to the evils experienced by survivors and victims, continues to defeat those who would claim that the death of 6 million was a myth. Rabbi Bornstein, now age 83, is a member of the ever-diminishing generation of Holocaust survivors. Every year, fewer and fewer of these amazingly strong people remain to recall their experience. Very soon, all will be gone, and with them will disappear the personal, individual connection with this tragic period in human history. Yet the immense loss the young Menachem Bornstein endured has manifested into gain. He now has 35 descendants who live because of his survival. He has prevailed over adversity with his faith intact. His story, and those of his fellow witnesses to the Nazi horror, embody the spirit of the Holocaust survivor, a testament to the triumph over the tragedy of 12 million murdered souls.